Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of a slightly above average ship review. Got a match for you today. Mountain Range? Oh, Sea of Fortune. Alright, we're on Sea of Fortune. We're in a domination match. We're top tier in the Borodino. It is a Russian Tier 7 premium. I would tell you to consider the Borodino to be a cross between. I'm not going to remember the ships, am I? Maybe like a Nelson crossed with. Maybe a Gascon. So as you can see, it's got two forward, three rifle turrets, and two rearward twin 180 millimeter secondaries. So that basically means your secondaries only fire to the rear. There is not a whole lot of them. This is not the most recent match I played in the Borodino. We're going to talk about one critical change you make to your commander at the port screen. But I can tell you what the Borodino does and does not do well. The Borodino does not do close quarters expert well. Close quarters combat, pardon me. It doesn't do that well. It doesn't do well when you show your broadside. I think you're about to see that. Yeah, there's the Citadel on us. It does not do well unless you have good positioning. It doesn't put out fires well. The armor is not great. There you can see the shell grouping wasn't great. We'll talk about why it wasn't great. And the port, despite myself, still managed to have a pretty good game. Ironic to me, deeply ironic, that the change, which is somewhat significant, I have not had a better game than this game. And the game before it, I probably had maybe 2,000 less damage scored than in this game that you're going to see right here. So there really wasn't a doubt I was going to do a little bit of whaling to get this thing because I love Russian battleships. I gotta tell you, between the Borodino and the Lenin, I would choose the Lenin all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Let's ignore the action here on the screen and go to the glory of the internet on wiki.wargaming.net. The alleged history of the Borodino. I don't trust Wargaming to be accurate. It says, allegedly, while designing the Project 82 heavy cruiser, the Ministry of Shipbuilding ordered drafts of a small battleship, a ship equipped with 1 to 2 turrets housing main and medium caliber guns, and enhanced bow armor. Newsflash, the Borodino does not have enhanced bow armor. Blah, 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 1952 and 1951, one of the projects armed with 2 triple turrets with 406mm guns was recommended for further development. After Joseph Stalin died, the project was not completed, allegedly. All right, so we're looking at the main battery. These are 406mm 50 Bravo-37 guns on a Mark 1 mount, 2x3 pieces. Switching over to the Lenin 406mm 45 model 1915 in a turret. That is the description of the main battery of each ship. All right, Borodino shell velocity 830 meters per second. The shell weight 1,108 pounds. The maximum dispersion 212 meters. The Lenin shell velocity 793 meters per second. The shell weight 1,116 kilos. Did I say kilos when I was talking about the Borodino? Anyway, I feel that you can tell the difference in these two turrets and their shell characteristics. I think the Borodino, maybe not evidenced in this match, especially not that first salvo where we did bracket fire on that bow tanking enemy. I think the Borodino is a little bit more accurate, especially at longer ranges. I think the Lenin shells hit harder. I think they hit noticeably harder than the Borodinos. Just one man's opinion who owns both ships. If I had to pick one, if you were only picking one, I would pick the Lenin every single time. The person who's going to like Borodino is the kind of person who likes sitting behind islands and sniping. And right now, I can hear myself and every other ship class player going, ugh. That is the playstyle of this ship. You need to protect your citadel because you have really trashy armor. I'm not saying it's a glass cannon. It does not have an icebreaker bow, despite what we're going to look at in the port. It absolutely does not. It has an armor belt. Yes. Does it have an icebreaker bow where the heavier armor goes up the bow of the ship? The answer is no. No, it does not. So do not think you can do the bow tanking things that you do in the Lenin and the other tech tree battleships and stuff like that, because you get absolutely crushed doing that. Pardon me, I don't know what I was talking about before. It is a cross between the Nelson and the Missouri. That's what I meant to say. And the reason why I say that is because you have a long-range radar. I think it goes out to 11.7 kilometers. So that is super helpful. But, you know, that being what it is the Borodino fun? Yes. You know, I've heard people say it's like 18,000 doubloons when you count all that stuff in. Well, look, comparatively to the shill, it's a bargain. Comparatively to other ships, I don't think it's worth it. You know, if you got to gamble to get Lenin, you've got to buy crates to get this thing. So between the two of them, I think your money is better spent chasing the Lenin. Just one man's opinion. You know, I've continued to play Borodino. There are moments where I really like it, a moment like that, where a broadside Alabama gets tuned up with a Citadel hit. But there are moments where I've had that same ship in my sights, and it's a cruiser, and there are no Citadels. You know, we've got a resistance out there. This is like literally a perfectly aimed shot at the waterline to the main of the ship, and there's not going to be a Citadel here. I can tell you that right now. So I just think the Lenin's guns feel better as a Russian battleship enjoyer. And if you were going to pay through the nose to get a ship, I would pay through the nose to get a Lenin as opposed to the Borodino. All right, so we're going to aim for the superstructure because I'm not confident in my armor penetrating abilities. And even then we can't get a kill on Alabama. But so far we got 73k damage. You know, you take the targets that are given to you. I didn't come around the island and start sailing into Never Never Land. I came around the island and stopped because, like most Russian ships, I'm playing it like a bow tank. Now, even though this ship doesn't have the same armor as the Lenin, there is a kill on the Alabama. Our second kill, we're going to go start shooting out at the Bismarck. Let's talk about another thing that Borodino is especially weak to, and that is carrier-based aircraft. There are no carriers in this match. I'm just telling you that because the matches with carriers in it can end rather quickly if you are focused by the carrier. Your ship doesn't have a lot of AA. It is a rear bias to the AA. And I'm just telling you, this thing gets lit up like a Roman candle against torpedoes. There you saw the enemy Borodino was able to go right through my bow armor because it's just a rather weak, I think it's 27 millimeters, rather weak plate. Here I got lucky and backed up just in time to avoid these torpedoes, or otherwise you never would have seen this match because I would have been dead. Absolutely dead. All right, the enemy Borodino is showing a lot of side, but unfortunately I'm not getting the same luck in doing damage to him that he is to me. Right here I think I'm being shot at by 3 or 4 ships, so you know, this is something that maybe you could hold out a little bit longer in the Lenin, but again, the Borodino does not have the armor profile. Basically, with the Borodino, you have to punch the enemies and take them out before they take you out. You cannot make a defensive stand in the ship. It does not have the armor capability to do that. And the commander build is really important. We will definitely go over that in the port. One key change you're going to make to your commander. By all means, I recommend using Lev Galler in this ship. I think he's clearly the number one choice. Whereas Lenin could go either way with Galler or Kedrov. That being said, I use Kedrov in the Lenin to enhance that toughness. And so I think this is a really good point counterpoint of ships, variety-wise, and all that good stuff, which Wargaming rarely provides. Usually they provide ships that are very similar to each other with not a lot of differences, and I think there's a definite difference here. This is essentially another sniper like Poltava, whereas most of the other ships are defensively based, like Lenin, Knyaz Suvorov, and Oktoberskaya Revoluция, and all the other Russian premium battleships. They're the kind of ships you lock down aside and you dare the enemy to beat you, and you just back up and shoot at them with your selenium shells, and life is great. This ship can't do that. You can see we're trying to do that here. It doesn't work because you don't have the armor. It's that simple. You're a very large ship. You don't have the armor, and there the enemy Borodino goes through our bow plating again and takes us out. All right, I don't know if I clip it here or clip it right after that, but I think we do end up winning this match. Just wanted to give a little feedback. I appreciate the feedback on Velos. I have tried some matches with the Torpedo Commander. Thank you, Jeff Dave, for that idea. It's not really going a lot better. I also saw Baz's comment about the shill. I usually don't do terrible in heavy cruisers. You know, Stalingrad, I think has some good games in that you've seen. Some other premium heavy cruisers, maybe like the Napoli and stuff like that. I haven't had bad games in those ships. You know, of the cruiser videos you've seen that are premium ships, a lot of them are heavy cruisers because I can play it kind of like a battleship and get away with it. The analog to the shill that I would give everyone, it feels like a bigger Graf Spee, maybe an adult Graf Spee or Graf Spee. You know, I just am not clicking with that ship. You know, I hate to say it. I did, you know, hey, this ship gets me. There are plenty of ships that don't get me that I would love to get, meaning I don't work well with them, even though I want to love them. And the Graf Spee, and it appears the shill, are two of those ships that are heavy cruisers that you would think someone who plays the way I play would have a good time in those ships, and I do not. I have not had a game worth mentioning in the shill to this date. I will try to play it over the weekend and see what I can do, which is a little detrimental to my kill-death ratio and win rate. But I'm willing to make that sacrifice for you guys because I know you don't want to see another carrier video. But yeah, I don't anticipate any knock your socks off kind of match in the shill. I just watched Aaron's video in the shill. He had 175k damage. It'll be a long day in hell before I ever get 175k damage in the shill. I'll tell you that right now. I just don't see that happening at all whatsoever. All right, as you can see here, the match just ended. The enemy Borodino got a Kraken unleashed. So it is possible to get a Kraken in the Borodino. It is Kraken capable, just not in my hands. Defeat screen, nothing much to talk about there. A GG to the enemy team Borodino. 5 kills, 3103 base XP. So all things are possible if you have a skilled player behind the wheel and your team is not incredibly bad. We did finish at the top of the board. Whoopie-doo. That and 50 cents will get you a down payment on a cup of coffee. All right, AA Guns Mod 2. I know that seems odd. Damage Control System Mod 2. Concealment System Mod 1. And Main Battery Mod 3. The reason why I did not use Aiming Systems Mod 1, you only have 4 secondary guns, you don't have torpedoes. Is that dispersion really worth it? And I would tell you the answer is Yes. So in my current matches with Borodino, I am getting rid of the AA guns and I am mounting Aiming System Mod 1 because you need that dispersion reduction. All right, you have unlimited damage control parties. Pay attention to that when we get into the commander build. Very, very important. 3 charges of the repair party. I think you could call this a greater heal. So I have volunteer here. You don't need volunteer in this commander. You can mark or use marksmanship. Again, a dispersion reduction. Highly, highly, highly recommended for this ship. So that's the Borodino, folks. I don't think I'm going to go over any of the stats. Hope you enjoyed the video. If I get a better match, I will bring it to you here. Thanks.